Wholesaling, lease options, and your marketing mastermind. Good morning, everyone. Gil here, and if you can see the screen clearly, and if the audio is coming out good, please go ahead and confirm in the GoToWebinar control panel. We're going to jump right into the thick of our Q&A here this morning. If you guys have any urgent questions, feedback, or clarifications, go ahead and enter them now in the GoToWebinar control panel. If it's business as usual for you guys, then just enter business as usual in the comments section. And maybe you're just in for some notes or want to check in. Fantastic. We will be releasing details on a new program here in about 2 weeks. And this will cover the strategy we had talked about on those of you that need to bootstrap with your marketing budgets, right? Some of you are in highly competitive marketplaces where, you know, $500 in a direct mail budget just isn't enough to keep the phone ringing or allow you to make offers on a regular basis. And so, you know, we've been shopping around trying to look for other creative ways to get some deals done with a marketing budget or a direct mail around that particular size. So, yes, it hasn't come out yet. You guys will be actually the first to know. That's one of the benefits and perks here. We're actually working real closely on this particular product and strategy. So you guys will be the first to know. Bill, go ahead and do a mic and audio test on your end. I got the questions here. We're ready to jump right into our session here this morning. Go ahead.
Hey, Gil, loud and clear. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Getting some,
Gil?
Yes, I think your audio might be delayed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Sounds good. How was the weekend?
Hey, the weekend was great, man. Weather was perfect, and, you know, it was a good weekend. Went out and looked at a few properties and started the week here meeting an appraiser at once.
Wow, jump right into the thick of it. You got an appraiser already lined up. We have a rehab project that we closed on last week. And so it looks like we'll start working on that one here in the next week or so. So just working out the details there. I got a couple questions already lined up on here. First one came in from David over the weekend. He was sending me some texts as he's responding to some of the marketing that's coming his way. And one of the big questions we do get asked often is, how do you deal with proof of funds? And we do deal with proof of funds by using a bank statement. We don't use a 10-15 rinky-dink letter in our markets just because, you know, here in Los Angeles County, a lot of the agents have caught on to that, you know, you can, that rinky-dink proof of funds letter, which says you can borrow up to X amount, right? And that's no longer going to fly. They no longer hold that with much respect or, you know, take it seriously. And if we are partnering with you on deals, and if you are in our group coaching program, then you will have access to proof of funds. You will need to touch base with Steve Clutch in group coaching. I recommend you schedule that particular agent so that we can get on a conference call with them and help establish the relationship. Now, since this is an agent that you are their primary point of contact, you will be the wholesaler, the property scout, bird dog, tomato, call it what you want. You will be credited with the deals that come from that particular pipeline, since you will be maintaining that particular relationship. You'll be talking to the agent. We'll simply help you by providing proof of funds and the real estate track record that you don't have if you're getting started, or if you are, you know, you've done a couple of deals. It definitely helps to be working with a company that has flipped and sold over 100 transactions. So that's the kind of track record we are bringing to the table. What we won't do is simply email our bank statement out to anybody that requests for it. That is a big security problem right there, and we don't recommend anybody to do that for that matter, right? So if this agent is the real deal, if he actually has deals, because there is a difference, right? Does this agent have deals, or are they spinning your wheels? you want to make sure you're dealing with the right agent. Now, assuming that you're dealing with an agent with deals, then schedule a conference call or a face-to-face meeting so that we can coordinate. Yes, even if you do live in Florida, the same happens for you, Jenny. Just, schedule the appointment with the agent to meet with us at our office, or to schedule a sit-down outside of the workplace, or whatever an appointment will work. The point is, we're willing to meet with these guys if they are serious. But again, if they are just spinning your wheels, or they don't have any deals, then you need to drop that relationship and move on to another agent or wholesaler that actually has deals for you. Okay. Now, David also got a couple of objections over the weekend. First one is, what if my seller is an investor and asks me if I'm an investor, how do I proceed? David, that's easy. Just tell them, yes, I am a real estate investor. I am looking to purchase properties or rentals. Some of these I am looking for, I'm looking for some nice houses in some nice neighborhoods, right? So we can play closer to top dollar or fair market value. Now, if the house is a beat-up junker or is a rehab project, you know what? That's okay too. We don't shy away from those, and we can purchase those beat-up junker properties and rehab those particular homes. So, which of the two do you have? Do you have a nice house in a nice neighborhood, or a property that needs a little bit of some TLC? And then move your conversation forward. I don't have any problems with letting a lead know that we are an investor. It just depends on what portion of the conversation. I don't open the conversation and introduce myself as an investor right off the bat. I like to make the conversation about the seller, about the lead, the person I'm talking to. That's why I ask information about the property that they have. Okay? At the end of the day, we can buy houses in different ways. We have different tools in our toolbox that we can use. The only time we know what tool to pull out is after we pre-screen them and build some rapport effectively. Okay. David here had a follow-up text message that comes in and said, what if he's a hard person to deal with? Okay. What am I trying to do? Who are you? All of that. Then you know what? I don't encourage you to go into a text conversation. Okay. Play it smart, guys. If you have a homeowner or a lead that is blowing up your phone in the form of text messages, whether they are good or whether they are bad, that's besides the point. And quite frankly, that does not matter. Okay. You're going to have to get on the phone with them. That is the best way to move any lead forward, is to get on the phone, have a conversation person to person, and then decide if it needs a face-to-face appointment, or if you can email the paperwork, the information about the strategy you're offering over for them to go ahead and check out. Okay? If you're getting somebody that will just keeps barraging you in the form of text messages, then you know what? This is probably a homeowner, a seller, an agent. This lead, regardless of who they are, at the end of the day is not motivated or is not the right person to deal with, okay? And so do not play customer service. Do not play, helpline and listen to their problems for free because that's not the business that you're in. Do not call this person. If you're using Google Voice, block them from your Google Voice account. I use it all the time. It's called my blacklist. And once you get on the blacklist, I will never call you. I will never text you. I have erased you from all existence. And that way my life is 100% much better for not having to deal with that particular lead. You will come across some people that are upset and will be irate. And you know what? That's not our fault. Okay? This particular person had advertised their property online. We're calling them about it. They had decided to call us from a yellow letter when they very well could not have called us, right? They could have blocked their phone number. They could have done a whole bunch of stuff prior to calling you, or not even call you at all. There's a reason why I'm okay with calling our leads back, is because they had contacted us. Now, if during the conversation they request and respectfully, ask to be removed from our mailing list, or you know, they no longer have the house, or this is the wrong information, right? You know, maybe the person entered in the wrong phone number in the web form on the pay-per-click campaign, because that can happen too, right? So during those events, then I'll tell the lead, you know what, you know, my apologies, it looks like we have the wrong phone number on here, or you know, maybe maybe there was a mix-up in the contact information. Somebody was supposed to press 5. They hit 6 on their phone because they have fat fingers, or they may have been driving on the road. My apologies. End the conversation. Hang up on them if they insist on talking to you, or accidentally hit the red phone and then move on, right? Easy and simple. Okay, but if there's a lead like this just barraging you with objections, you know what? He's, at the end of the day, that's probably somebody that's not going to be moving forward with you anyway. Cool? All right. Bill, I'm going to unmute you if there's anything you wanted to add on to that.
Yeah, right on, Gil.
Awesome.
I mean, I want to do business with people that want to do business with me, and you know, basically is you know, we buy properties in lots of different ways, and if they don't want to do business with us, that's okay. Or maybe they're just having a bad day, and we'll contact them back another time. But you're right. I mean, there's been times when I hung up while I was talking, you know, and that was it. I just took them off the list and moved on. I don't need it in my life. There's too many leads out there.
Bingo. Darren says here, I'm a wholesaler in Detroit trying to generate steady flow of leads, but I'm doing it on a shoestring budget. Any good advice? Darren, check out learntoinvestforfree.com. There is a video series on there on how to wholesale from A to Z, the entire process, which includes marketing options for you. Now, if you're working in a market like Detroit, you know, I know there's some wholesalers out there making a good living. You have to be very surgical about your approach, right? Where not all areas are good areas. Some areas are just hit so bad, and you could buy you know, there are some depressed areas, and not just, I'm just not saying in Detroit. There's some areas and some markets, guys, that are so beat up. They just got hit so hard when the market crashed that you can buy up an entire city block and it still wouldn't do anything to to bump up and increase the overall values. It's just, they just got hit really hard. And so those are not the areas you want to do deals in. That requires some high-level investing and developments on a much larger scale. This isn't that's not your, you know, your cookie-cutter wholesaler, you know, get-started operation, or a type of operation that you can sustain on a day-to-day basis. Closing deals regularly, right? That's more of like a long play. It's like doing commercial units. It takes longer, bigger capital, but bigger payoffs. If you need a check in 30 days, then not quite the solution or strategy you want to be implementing at this point. What I would consider if I were you, Darren, as well, take a look at other markets where if you're on a shoestring budget, you can generate more leads. Also, stay tuned for some of the new training videos we're going to release, because this is designed for those on a shoestring budget. Next question on here. We're not going to stay on this session long, guys. I want to jump right into this session. We may cut it off early, depending on what we can cover. Want to end the session right at 9:30 today. Keep it concise, since we've got active leads that I'd like to pursue for myself, and check in on the other investors we have in the program. So, realtor question, right? What do you expect or look for when working with wholesalers? Do you have a certain price point per deal? What's your experience been with wholesalers? Has it been good for the most part? Bill, what's your take on this? You were a broker, you know, for quite a while, licensed yourself. And what's the word for how do we deal with wholesalers, right? As an agent or a broker, what's the best way to work out fees, or you know, get a good relationship going with wholesalers?
Well, credibility and performance. You know, there's so many, you know, investor wannabes out there to go to a weekend seminar and then go out there and waste realtors' times. Because remember, they don't get paid unless something closes. Otherwise, they're working for free. So, you know, they hear so many stories from people. They want to do business with somebody that can perform and do what they promise they can do. So if you're going to work with a realtor, make sure that, you know, you're going to do what you promised you're going to do. And if you want a realtor to find great deals for you, then you're going to have cash or access to cash. As Gil mentioned earlier, you're going to have a proof of funds bank statement, or work with somebody that does. And then, you need to do your homework, make sure you have all your ducks in a row, learn how to properly evaluate a property, how to tie it up, how to estimate repairs, and then present it to your cash partner and close. And so you need to go through, learn to invest for free, find out exactly everything you need to do to make that happen. And then when you call the realtor, you're going to be able to talk their language, and they're going to be ready to do business with you because you've done your homework and have your ducks in a row. Back to you, Gil.
With working with some of the agents that we do business with, some of the things that they do for us, which are extremely valuable, is providing us access to comps in the area, local intel, feedback, vendors, local people that can help us do our deals moving forward in a fast and timely manner. So those are some of the valuable things that they bring to the table. From a wholesaling standpoint, there are realtors that bring us buyers or that bring us sellers. And so we will joint venture on the wholesale fee. And when we come up with a wholesale fee, we are, we maximize the existing fee that the existing wholesaler assignment fee that we've built in, right? Because we know the numbers work really good at that point. We discourage people from adding on their fees, on top of it, because the numbers don't look so good anymore, right? And now and I learned this from Joe McCall, now you're just dealing with the greater fool theory. You're basically finding some poor sap that's willing to pay more for something that they can get for less. Now, the flip side to it is maybe you have a good, solid relationship with the buyer, and for them, they have deep pockets and money is not an issue, and the numbers would still work even if they have a 1% profit margin. Okay? So if that's the scenario, somebody here said I have no audio. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Gil.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought too. So I think your conference call line disconnected. Redial back in. Go to webinar, shows you need to call back in. My marketing team that's logged on. So where was I? Yeah, so I would just recommend that you would go ahead and split the existing fee with them. If they bring you a buyer and you got the seller, split it 50-50. If you can rework your fees, flat rate fee, then that works too, right? Whatever would make sense for you guys at the end of the day. Those are some of the valuable things that realtors do for us, and that's just some of the things that I look for. And regarding price points, we just agree on a flat rate fee or split the existing fee in between, right? All right. Hi, everybody. Working on my 4th wholesale deal, newbie, and was hoping to get some advice. I have a property under contract with major settlement issues. It's not sinkhole related. Parts of the house have dropped 6 inches in several places. I know it won't be cheap to fix, but wanting to see if anyone has had success with wholesaling properties like this. Does this scare you? Does this scare the you-know-what out of most buyers? So thanks in advance. My tip for you on this one, if you're working with an agent, if you have MLS access somehow, request for properties that have sold that have settlement issues, because I think settlement issues is a local keyword that is relevant in your area, right? Or what would pop up in a search on your MLS. And take a look at the buyers who've purchased these settlement issue related type of properties or that have these issues. And those are the buyers that I would start talking to first because they have experience with it. I wouldn't flip or wholesale this deal to even a rehabber who had the money, but it is their first property, because we may end up in a nightmare of an experience. And even though they had signed off on all the disclosures, they had their big boy pants and girl pants on, and they were supposed to do their due diligence, somebody's going to come back and try to complain. right? And so in order to avoid that, don't even deal with these types of buyers entirely. Bill talks about that in terms of dealing with the right types of buyers. So that's my tip for you in working with the right buyers on this particular lead or deal. Bill, anything you wanted to add on to that, or any other angles to it?
Yeah, Gil, absolutely everything that you said. I mean, that obviously calls for a sophisticated buyer that knows how to deal with that. The other thing that you can do is, like, for instance, if I find a property like that, I pick up the phone because I've recommended them and used them personally over the years. I can pick up the phone and call them up, United Structural here in town, and they'll send one of their guys out to the property and do a complete evaluation on what they think needs to be done in order to make that property sound. And everybody else, they would charge $100 for that service. They'll do it for me because of the amount of business I've sent them over the years. But they'll come out and they'll do a drawing and they'll estimate the repairs and determine what the problem is, and then they'll indicate whether they recommend an engineer get involved or not. And so when I have that document, even now, Gil, when I'm dealing with a sophisticated buyer that can deal with settlement issues, I'm going to show them that estimate from United Structural, and they've heard of them and maybe even done business with them. That's going to save a lot of time, and it's going to get my deal done a lot quicker. Because now I'm dealing with a sophisticated buyer that deals with settlement issues, and my company says it's going to cost about 12 grand to fix that, or whatever it is. And so now either that settlement buyer is either in or out, but they know what the numbers are estimated to be, and I can get my deal closed a lot quicker. Back to you.
Bingo. If you have other deals or leads to pursue, I would prioritize those, right? Like fresh new leads. Again, this is a situation that if you're a new person, might be a little bit overwhelming. Can it be done? Yes. Is it of the highest priority? At this point, we need more information to decide that, right? If you have this under contract for 50% of what it's worth or even less, then you might be onto something, because even with these settlement issues, which right now are yellow flags, right? I don't know if this counts as a red flag and an absolute deal breaker in your local market, but what this tells me is proceed with caution. Check out Angie's List for recommendations on these settlement and foundation companies, because the highest, quote unquote, they boast of having high quality vendors. And so these guys may go out on your behalf. They are more likely to do very cost effective or free estimates. Okay, that's how they are able to maintain their ranking in Angie's List, because of the quality of the service, the low barriers to entry, and the follow-ups that they have, right, in order to keep that particular rating. Looks like we have time for one more question. We're going to cut the session at 9:30 here this morning. To those that are just logging on, quick reminder, replays have been posted on the main site. Go to learntoinvestforfree.com in order to get to our new website. It'll redirect you here, and we posted some of the most recent replays that have been going up. These sessions where I'm cold calling live, talking to sellers and leads, we are not posting those replays. If you made the live sessions, fantastic. We had some great reviews on them. Check out my Facebook page. But we will not be posting those. And yeah, we're only reserving them for our group coaching members, so they will have access to that kind of stuff. But we are putting that in a separate site, not on the public posts that you see on here. But the other replays will go live here as always. The same with this, along with the notes. So we do have time for one more question. Does anyone use a more lengthy purchase sale contract for wholesaling? I've used 2-page docs. I've used 30-page docs here in LA County. Just depends on who I'm dealing with. And it looks like with this person, they ran across a seller whose lawyer wants something more than 2 pages, basically to protect his lawyer credentials. I like to use documents that allow me to sit down with the property owners at the kitchen table or something simple that we can email and get a signed contract or agreement back, right? That's worked for us here in LA County. That's worked for us in tiny niche markets like Augusta, Georgia. The only time we've had to come up with lengthy contracts, just like this particular scenario, is when we come across a lawyer who wants to protect the seller better, or is looking out for their particular position. So in this case, it's a lawyer who wants to protect his credentials. First thing that comes to mind is, why doesn't this lawyer update the document, or puts pen to paper, or actually work and produce that document for his particular seller? Why are they making you come up with a lengthier document? I mean, what do they want to see is what I would ask, right? What are you guys looking for, so that we can put it here in the document, and I would have the lawyer work, right? I mean, isn't that what they're there for? And I'll kind of take some pot shots with the seller, a little bit, so that they come to that conclusion, or the attorney. And again, maybe they're, maybe they have the sincerest of intentions. They just don't know what to do. Then maybe we can help figure it out together. But as soon as I start to feel I'm doing 100% of the work here, what is this guy's relevancy and point? What does he bring to this particular deal? That I'm going to start to pump the brakes a little bit and go, whoa, 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 whoa. We have this lawyer who's on here, and he's not exactly making my life easier. We're supposed to be working on this thing together, but they haven't contributed anything. So, Mr. Seller, what are you looking for, really? What can we add on to this, or what's your attorney? What are they looking for, right? Because we need some help to move this thing forward if you still want to actually buy it and close it. Also, it sounds like you're dealing with a new buyer here. You've never done business with them before. And I would be concerned about this attorney as well, because, have they done business with wholesalers before? Because it can be done. But are you dealing with the right buyer, right? It just comes down to that, because the attorneys that we have dealt with, even for some of the biggest institutional buyers, are very proactive. They have documents ready. They have us take a look at this document, update it so that the same items can be found in our purchase contract, and they will review it. So again, we're dealing with somebody that has experience and systems in place, not with somebody that we have to educate and really literally hold by the hand. Now, that is okay, but if you have a good deal on your hands, chances are you can deal with a better buyer or somebody with more experience. Bill, what's your take on that one? You love dealing with the attorneys.
Yeah, many times, especially in high-level leases. The easy answer is simply this. Is two things I do great. So what you're saying is you want your attorney to review the agreement and approve it, right? Okay. So I put in there, this offer is contingent upon seller's attorney's written disapproval of this contract, period. And what that means is if the attorney doesn't disapprove it, it's automatically good. That's one of the ways I do it. The other way I do it is I just say to the seller, well, does your attorney give you business advice or legal advice? I said, you make your own business decisions, right? So if a deal is good or not good for you, you're able to make that determination. So the only thing that we need the attorney to do is just to make sure that the agreement is legal. Is that true? Yeah, great. Have your attorney draft up the agreement legally exactly the way that what they want it, and as long as the business terms stay the same, we should be ready to go. And then what I've done is the attorney has actually drafted up a phenomenal agreement, making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and it's all legal and right in that market. So I just got $1,000 worth of legal advice for free. So that's what I do. The attorney wants it, a 4-page agreement, then no problem at all. Draft one up. We'll take a look at it.
Exactly. And, other creative ways. What I'm looking for here is I'm okay with working with attorneys, with Bob the uncle, the CPA person who is their cousin, who's now advising them on real estate, but just got his license. You know, there's all sorts of different scenarios, and I don't prejudge right off the bat. I may proceed with caution, pump the brakes a little bit, take a look at it from a different angle, but I'm interested in moving forward to find out more information to see, you know, is this going to require more tools out of our toolbox? Is this going to require more time? And the only way to find that out is to attempt to move forward step by step and ask the right questions, okay? What you want to look out for with these third parties involved in the deal is, are they actually contributing to help close it, or are they killing the deal or haven't even gotten off their bums to try to do anything about it, right? So I'm looking for signs of life. You guys heard me use that. I'm just looking for signs of life. In Bill's case, how he gets that from the lawyer is basically, hey, why don't you come up with a draft of the document, and I'll update the contract and paperwork that we have, right? That way you have somebody updating docs in a local area that you're doing business in. You're getting, quote unquote, some free consulting advice, and this may open the door to multiple deals with this particular buyer. Don't dismiss it right off the bat. Find out more, know who you are doing deals with. Okay, so we have a couple other questions on here. We will tackle those tomorrow on tomorrow's session. We're going to keep this session tight and compact for the urgent questions that came in. Mostly business as usual here from the group. Nice. A little World Cup update going on. Germany 1, Portugal 0. I know in the betting pools, Portugal just has to draw this particular match. But the Germans are vicious. That is correct. And so, I mean, those guys are like machines there. They were I don't know. They're clearly they're favored in that one. Now it's 2-0. Jeez, it's only been 2 minutes. And it looks like they scored again. Sometimes the attorney comment is simply a test. Yes. Guys, with objections that come your way, okay, if these are the first objections, questions, or clarifications that you are getting from the seller, majority of the time, these are surface level irritations. These are tests. These are, you know, these are more of, can this person handle an objection? I just want to see how they respond. There's absolutely no bearing or truth, or this really doesn't matter. I just want to see if this person's going to fold at the first sign of a problem, a crack, or a challenge, right? So it's never, you know, it's never the end, and it's not likely that it is the main issue that they actually have, right? Because surface level objections always come first before you get to the heart of the matter, where the seller, the agent, or whoever you're talking to really spills the beans on what's going on. Right now, you may come across a motivated seller right off the bat, and they start opening up their situation and telling you everything in their life story. That can very well happen, okay? But most of the time, you will come across surface level irritations, objections. They're just there to test you. Okay, Frank Betker, in his book, How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling, he talks about that concept in one of the chapters, where that is that is not the real objection. That is just a distraction. That is a hey, if this person can't respond or overcome this, then I don't even want to deal or go further. That is how they test you. So with I would say that very well ties back to the first question we addressed on the session about proof of funding. Okay, why a lot of these agents here in LA, they just ask for proof of funding to see if you can even say bank statement, if you have the quote unquote the balls or the audacity, right, or the courage, and are using legitimate bank statements and proof of funding in order to get deals done. Or are you the $10, $15, I bought this letter online, now claiming I can borrow $10 million and I'm a cash buyer? Okay. Double check. Yeah, quick recap. This replay will go live in the next 24 hours onto the main website. Some of the questions we addressed earlier today are working with realtors. What do realtors look for? What do wholesalers look for? And best ways to work out pricing fees. We also addressed the situation that one of our newer wholesalers is in, where they're working on their 4th wholesale deal. Congratulations. To get to your 4th, you always have to start with 1. You got to start somewhere, but they're on their 4th wholesale deal, and this one's looking like it's got a little bit more of some challenges. It's not a straightforward wholesale deal due to possible settlement issues, which right now are yellow flags, not so much a red flag alert. Lawyers who's looking for lengthy contracts, you can very well rephrase that objection as family members, third parties claiming to want to review docs or want something lengthier. Okay, with the seller, I always use this line, and I have yet to have heard tell anybody otherwise. I like to keep the the contract language simple so that everybody who understands reads it can thoroughly understand it, and we can move forward. Right now, if we want to have a 100-page item contract, we can very well do so. Right, you just have to let me know which seller. What do you prefer? Okay, we'll cover some other scenarios and questions that had come in. In the meantime, doesn't look like there's anything urgent here from the group, so we will jump out of our session, keep this one compact and tight. That way, those of you that we just issued new leads for will have some time to follow up and process those. My name is Gil. On behalf of Bill and all the other content contributors, we'll see you first thing tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will not have an internet marketing training class today at noon. We should resume that by tomorrow. All right? Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.